Close your eyes for a moment and let your breathing slow. Feel the weight of your body settling into this quiet space where the day's urgencies fade into whispers. Here, in this gentle darkness, we begin with a question that has puzzled seekers. For generations, why does something as natural as quantum manifestation feel so impossibly complex? The answer, dear listener, lies not in the stars or in ancient texts, but in the soft rhythm of your own heartbeat. It rests in the space between your thoughts, in the pause between your breaths, in the moment when your busy mind finally exhales its need to understand everything at once. You see, quantum manifestation is not a skill to be learned, is it? Remembering, like a child who picks up a crayon and draws without questioning whether the paper will hold the color. You once knew how to shape reality with the simple act of being. Before the world taught you to doubt, before experience whispered that dreams were separate from waking life, you moved through existence as a natural creator. Watch a 3-year-old at play. Notice how they speak to invisible friends as if they were sitting right there. Observe how they become a dragon or a princess with nothing more than a towel and unwavering belief. They don't study the physics of imagination or question the mechanics of transformation. They simply are, and in that being, worlds unfold. This is the gentle paradox that keeps so many of us circling quantum manifestation like moths around a flame. We seek complexity because our minds have been trained to believe that anything truly powerful must be difficult. We accumulate techniques and methods, meditation practices and visualization exercises, as if the secret lies in the accumulation itself. But quantum simplicity asks you to set down these tools just for a moment. It invites you to remember that before you learned to think about manifestation, you were already manifesting. Before you studied the observer effect, you were already observing your reality into existence with every breath, every heartbeat, every gentle shift of attention. The quantum field that surrounds you right now responds not to your effort, but to your being. It doesn't measure your knowledge of wave functions or your understanding of probability collapse. It simply mirrors back the frequency of your existence, the quiet hum of who you are when no one is watching, when no one is keeping score. Think of it like this. Imagine you're sitting by a still pond at twilight. The water is so calm it perfectly reflects the sky above. You don't need to understand the physics of light refraction to see the stars shimmer on the surface. You don't need to study the molecular structure of water to watch the ripples spread from where a leaf has fallen. The pond simply responds, as it always has, as it always will. Your consciousness is that pond. Clear, responsive, effortlessly reflective. And your thoughts, your emotions, your deep-held beliefs, these are like gentle disturbances on the surface, each one creating ripples that spread outward into the quantum field of possibility. But here's where the forgetting began. Somewhere along the way, you learned to watch those ripples with judgment. You decided some were good and others were bad. You began to study the water instead of simply being the water. You forgot that you were both the pond and the sky it reflects, both the observer and the observed. The complexity that surrounds quantum manifestation in our modern world isn't a sign of its difficulty. It's a sign of how far we've traveled from our own natural state. Like a traveler who has wandered so far from home that they need detailed maps to find their way back. We've created elaborate systems to return to what a child knows instinctively. This is why quantum manifestation feels so paradoxical. It's simple because it's natural. It's elusive because we've forgotten how to be natural. We've learned to think our way into manifestation instead of feeling our way into it. We've been taught to do instead of to be. Tonight, as you listen to these words, your nervous system is already beginning to remember. Your breath is slowing. Your thoughts are becoming more spacious. The quantum field around you is responding to this shift, this gentle return to a more natural state of being. You don't need to understand how this works. You don't need to master the science or memorize the steps. You simply need to remember that you are already connected to the infinite field of possibility that quantum physics describes. You are already entangled with your deepest desires. You are already the observer, collapsing waves of potential into the reality you experience. The gentle paradox dissolves when you stop trying to solve it and start allowing it to solve you. When you stop asking how manifestation works and start noticing that it's already working, has always been working, will always be working through the simple fact of your existence. As you settle deeper into this quiet space, let yourself feel the profound simplicity of being alive in a responsive universe. Let yourself remember that before you learned to complicate things, you knew how to simply be, and in that being, everything you needed found its way to you. The quantum field doesn't distinguish between the child who wishes upon a star and the adult who visualizes with scientific precision. It responds to the purity of being, the clarity of desire, the natural frequency of a heart that has remembered how to trust. What if the secret you've been seeking has been breathing with you all along, waiting patiently for you to stop searching and start remembering? What if quantum manifestation isn't something you do, but something you are? Rest here in this question. Let it float gently through your awareness like a feather on still water. There's no need to answer it tonight. There's only the soft invitation to remember that you are already home in the quantum field of infinite possibility, and you always have been. Close your eyes now and feel the weight of your body settling into this moment. Your breath moves like gentle waves, carrying you deeper into the space where science and soul converge. Tonight, we explore the most intimate secret of existence, that you are not merely watching reality unfold, but actively weaving it into being with every tender moment of your awareness. Imagine, if you will, a dewdrop suspended on a spider's web at dawn. The dewdrop exists in perfect potential, neither fully formed nor absent, simply waiting. Your consciousness moves through the quantum field, much like morning light approaching that dewdrop. The moment your attention touches any aspect of reality, something miraculous occurs. The infinite possibilities that dance in the quantum realm begin to collapse, like gentle waves finding their shore, into the singular experience you call your life. This is the observer effect, but not as sterile science describes it. This is the tender relationship between your inner witness and the responsive universe that breathes around you. Every time you notice the warmth of your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the quality of light filtering through your window, you are participating in the most sacred act of creation, choosing which reality emerges from the field of all possibilities. Your nervous system has been carrying this knowledge in its deepest fibers. When you feel safe, when your breath slows and your shoulders soften, your awareness naturally expands. In this expanded state, you begin to notice the subtle currents of energy that flow through your daily experience. You start to recognize that your attention is not passive, it is a creative force, a gentle sculptor working with the clay of quantum possibility. But here's what the textbooks cannot capture. This process is not mechanical. It is deeply emotional, profoundly personal. The quality of your observation, whether it arises from fear or love, scarcity or abundance, separation or connection, flavors the reality that crystallizes around you. when you observe from a place of inner peace, when your awareness is soft and welcoming, the universe responds with experiences that mirror this gentleness back to you. Consider how different your world appears when you wake refreshed versus when you wake anxious. The same quantum field surrounds you, the same infinite possibilities exist, yet your quality of observation filters entirely different experiences into your awareness. This is not coincidence. This is the observer effect operating through the intimate lens of your emotional state. Your subconscious mind has been absorbing these patterns for years, learning to anticipate which version of reality will emerge based on the flavor of your attention. Sometimes this protective mechanism creates what seems like sabotage your deeper self, recognizing that certain ways of observing have historically led to pain, and so it shifts your attention away from possibilities that might threaten your emotional safety. This is not your enemy. This is your nervous system's attempt to love you, to keep you safe in a world that once felt unpredictable. But now, in this quiet moment, you can begin to rewire these patterns. You can teach your awareness to rest in the space of gentle curiosity rather than vigilant protection. You can learn to observe your life from the quantum frequency of peace, rather than the frequency of fear. Feel your breath deepening now. Notice how your body naturally knows how to find this state of relaxed attention. This is your birthright, this capacity to witness reality from a place of inner stillness. When you observe from this space, you become what quantum physicists call a coherent observer. Your awareness aligns with the deeper patterns of harmony that exist within the quantum field. In this coherent state, something beautiful begins to happen. The boundaries between observer and observed start to dissolve. You begin to recognize that you are not separate from the reality you're witnessing. You are an integral part of its unfolding. Your awareness and the quantum field are entangled, dancing together in an intimate choreography that has been ongoing since the moment you first drew breath. This quantum entanglement between your consciousness and reality means that every shift in your inner state ripples outward, creating subtle changes in the fabric of your experience. When you release a held breath, when you soften a tension you've been carrying, when you allow your awareness to rest in appreciation rather than judgment, you are literally participating in a reality shift at the quantum level. The observer within you is not trying to control or manipulate these quantum events. Instead, it learns to dance with them, to move in harmony with the natural flow of consciousness as it shapes reality. This is the art of quantum manifestation, not forcing outcomes, but learning to align your quality of attention with the experiences you wish to invite into your life. Your body holds the memory of times when this alignment felt natural, effortless. Perhaps as a child, lost in play, when time seemed to disappear and the world felt magical. Perhaps in moments of deep love, when the boundaries between self and other seemed to fade. Perhaps in nature, when your awareness expanded to include the rustling leaves, the bird songs, the gentle movement of air across your skin. These memories live in your cells, reminding you that the observer effect is not a foreign concept. It is your natural way of being. Your quantum mind knows how to rest in this state of creative witnessing. It simply needs permission to remember, space to unfold, gentleness to guide it back home to its innate wisdom. As you sink deeper into rest now, let your awareness become like water fluid, adaptable, naturally finding its level. Notice how your attention can be both focused and spacious, both intimate and expansive. This is the paradox of conscious observation. The more gently you hold your awareness, the more powerfully it shapes reality. The universe is not indifferent to your inner state. It cannot be, because your consciousness is woven into its very fabric, every moment of genuine presence, every breath taken in appreciation, every gentle recognition of beauty or truth. These are not small acts. These are quantum events, ripples in the field of consciousness that create the reality you experience. Your dreams tonight will carry this knowing deeper into your being. As you sleep, your subconscious mind will continue to integrate this understanding, weaving it into the neural pathways that govern how you observe and interact with reality. You will wake tomorrow with a subtly different relationship to your experience, more aware of your role as co-creator, more gentle in your witnessing, more trusting of the responsive nature of existence. The observer within you is always present, always available, always ready to participate in the sacred act of bringing reality into form. It needs no special training, no complex techniques, only the remembrance of its true nature and the willingness to rest in the spaciousness of aware. Presence. Rest now in this knowing. Let the quantum field hold you as you hold it with your gentle attention. Feel the ancient rhythm of consciousness breathing reality into existence. And know that you are not separate from this process. You are its most intimate expression. What if the very act of falling asleep is itself a quantum shift, a gentle collapse of the wave function of your daily awareness into the expanded possibilities of dream and rest? What if surrender itself is the ultimate expression of the observer effect, the moment when your consciousness releases its grip on one reality and allows another to emerge? Close your eyes and place your hand gently over your heart. Feel the steady rhythm beneath your palm, this ancient drum that has never missed a beat since the moment you first drew breath. But tonight, we're not just listening to your heartbeat. We're tuning into something far more profound, the quantum frequency that pulses beneath the surface of your awareness, the vibrational signature of everything you've ever truly wanted. Your heart knows things your mind has forgotten. It remembers the frequency of joy before you learned to question whether you deserved it. It holds the resonance of peace before anxiety convinced you that danger lurked in every shadow. And right now, as you breathe slowly and deeply, your heart is broadcasting a signal, a quantum frequency that your nervous system has been trained to ignore. Think of your heart as a radio tower, constantly transmitting the essence of your deepest knowing. But somewhere along the way, the static of survival took over. Your nervous system, that ancient guardian, learned to tune in to frequencies of fear, scarcity, and protection. It meant, well, this beautiful, complex web of responses that kept you safe when the world felt unpredictable. But in its vigilance, it began to drown out the gentler signal of your heart's wisdom. You've been living in a frequency that doesn't match your soul's true vibration. Every time you've tried to manifest something beautiful, your nervous system has whispered, "But what if it doesn't work? What if you're not enough? What if this is all fantasy?" And in those moments of doubt, you've unknowingly shifted away from your heart's frequency and into the familiar static of limitation. The observer effect in quantum physics tells us that consciousness shapes reality simply by paying attention. But here's what they don't tell you in the textbooks. Your heart is the most powerful observer you possess. When your heart truly witnesses a possibility, when it feels the resonance of what could be reality begins to reorganize itself around that frequency, your heart doesn't think its way into manifestation. It doesn't strategize or analyze. It simply recognizes truth when it encounters it, the way a tuning fork recognizes its perfect pitch. When you imagine yourself living your deepest desires, your heart doesn't question the logistics. It doesn't worry about the timeline. It simply says, "Yes, this feels like home." and begins to broadcast that frequency into the quantum field. But your nervous system, bless it, has been trained to interrupt this process. It jumps in with its well-meaning commentary. How will this happen? Where will the money come from? What will people think? And suddenly, you're no longer broadcasting from your heart's frequency. You're transmitting from the anxious static of your survival patterns. This is why manifestation has felt so difficult. Not because the universe isn't listening, but because your own internal radio has been tuned to the wrong station. Your heart broadcasts love, abundance, and possibility, while your nervous system transmits fear, lack, and limitation. These conflicting frequencies create what quantum physicists call interference patterns. The signal gets scrambled, and your reality reflects that confusion. Tonight, we're learning to return to your heart's frequency, not through force or willpower, but through the gentle art of nervous system regulation. When your nervous system feels safe, it stops broadcasting emergency signals. When it stops broadcasting emergency signals, it can finally hear the quiet wisdom of your heart. Take a moment now to breathe into your heart space. Imagine your breath flowing directly into your chest, expanding not just your lungs, but the entire energetic field around your heart. This is called heart-brain coherence. And it's not just a beautiful concept, it's a measurable state where your heart rhythm becomes smooth and coherent, creating the optimal frequency for quantum manifestation. In this state of coherence, your heart and mind begin to communicate in perfect harmony. Your heart shares its knowing, and your mind receives it without judgment. This is the frequency of your deepest knowing, the resonance that feels like coming home to yourself. When you're in this frequency, quantum jumping doesn't feel like a leap into the unknown. It feels like a gentle return to what was always true. The version of yourself living your dreams isn't a stranger. It's the you that your heart has been in constant communication with. Your heart recognizes this version of you the way it recognizes your own reflection. This is the frequency where miracles live. Not dramatic, earth-shattering events, but the quiet magic of synchronicity. Doors opening at precisely the right moment. People appearing with exactly what you need. Opportunities unfolding with such perfect timing that it feels like the universe is orchestrating a symphony. And you're both the musician and the music. Your nervous system begins to remember that this frequency is safe. It starts to understand that joy isn't dangerous, that abundance isn't a threat, that love isn't a trap. And as your internal radio stabilizes on your heart's frequency, your external reality begins to match that signal. The quantum field responds to coherence. When your heart and nervous system are broadcasting the same frequency, when your desires and your sense of safety are aligned, reality shifts with an ease that might surprise you. This is quantum manifestation in its purest form, not forcing outcomes, but embodying frequencies. You might notice that in this state, you're no longer trying to manifest specific things. Instead, you're becoming a living expression of the feelings those things would bring. You're not trying to create abundance, you're resting in the frequency of abundance. You're not trying to find love, you're broadcasting love. This is the secret your heart has been trying to tell you all along. You don't need to chase your desires across the quantum field. You need to become the frequency that naturally attracts them. You need to tune your internal radio to the station your heart has been broadcasting from all along. As you drift towards sleep tonight, let your heart's frequency be your lullaby. Feel the resonance of your deepest knowing humming quietly in your chest. Let this frequency saturate every cell of your being, every thought in your mind, every dream in your sleep. Your heart knows the way home. It always has. The question isn't whether you're worthy of your desires. Your heart wouldn't broadcast frequencies for things you weren't meant to experience. The question is, are you willing to let your nervous system remember that your heart's frequency is the safest place you could ever be? Rest now in this knowing. Let your heart's wisdom be the last thing you hear before sleep claims you. And trust that while you dream, this frequency continues to broadcast, weaving your desires into the fabric of tomorrow with the gentle precision of quantum love. Close your eyes and imagine stepping into a garden that exists beneath the surface of your waking mind. This is your subconscious gardener, vast living landscape where every thought you've ever planted has taken root. Some have grown into towering trees of belief, their branches reaching toward the light of your conscious awareness. Others remain as seeds, dormant yet potent, waiting for the right conditions to bloom. Tonight, you are both the gardener and the soil. You are the one who tends and the one who receives. In this sacred space between sleeping and waking, between knowing and unknowing, your deepest patterns reveal themselves like flowers opening in moonlight. Your subconscious mind holds the quantum blueprints of your reality. Every memory, every emotion, every whispered word from childhood has been carefully catalogued and stored in this rich, dark earth. These memories aren't just echoes of the past, they are living frequencies that continue to influence how your consciousness collapses the quantum field of possibility into your daily experience. Feel your breath soften as you walk deeper into this inner landscape. With each exhale, you release the need to control what you discover here. With each inhale, you invite gentle curiosity about the patterns that have been growing in the shadows of your awareness. Perhaps you notice areas where the soil feels compact, hardened by years of protection. These are the places where your nervous system learned to guard against disappointment, where childhood wounds created dense barriers around your heart. Your body remembers being told you were too much or not enough. Your cells carry the vibration of moments when love felt conditional, when safety required you to dim your light. This is not your fault. This is simply how consciousness learns to survive in a world that often feels unsafe for authentic expression. Your subconscious garden reflects the wisdom of a younger self who made brilliant adaptations to challenging circumstances. Every defensive pattern was once a creative solution. Every limiting belief was once a protective boundary. But now, as you stand in this moonlit garden of your inner world, you have the power to tend these spaces with compassion rather than judgment. You can approach the hardened soil of old wounds with the gentle persistence of spring rain, knowing that even the most defended parts of your psyche are longing to soften and bloom. The observer effect in quantum physics suggests that consciousness itself shapes reality through the act of observation. In your subconscious garden, you are the observer who can collapse old patterns of trauma and limitation into new possibilities for growth and healing. Your loving attention is the catalyst that transforms dormant seeds into flourishing plants. Notice how different areas of your garden carry different emotional frequencies. Some spaces feel light and expansive, where childhood joy and wonder still dance in the breeze. Others feel heavy and dense, where unprocessed grief or anger has created thick undergrowth that blocks the light. Each area is perfect in its own way, holding exactly what needed to be held until this moment of conscious tending. Your nervous system has been the faithful guardian of this garden, automatically triggering familiar responses whenever certain memories or emotions arise. When you encounter situations that remind your body of past wounds, your sympathetic nervous system activates, flooding your garden with stress hormones that can make even the most loving intentions feel foreign and unsafe. This is why affirmations sometimes feel empty, why positive thinking can feel like trying to plant tropical flowers in frozen ground. Your subconscious garden needs more than new thoughts. It needs the warm, consistent presence of your compassionate awareness to thaw the protective ice around old wounds. Feel yourself settling deeper into this quiet space between heartbeats, where quantum possibilities exist in perfect stillness. Your breath becomes the bridge between your conscious intentions and your subconscious patterns. With each gentle inhale, you invite healing light into the densest areas of your inner landscape. With each soft exhale, you release the grip of old stories that no longer serve your highest becoming. Quantum entanglement reveals that particles once connected remain mysteriously linked across vast distances, influencing each other instantaneously. In your subconscious garden, you are entangled with every version of yourself that has ever existed. The wounded child who learned to hide, the adolescent who struggled with belonging, the adult who carries these patterns forward through time. But entanglement works both ways. As you tend your inner garden with love and patience, you simultaneously heal these other versions of yourself. Your present moment compassion ripples backward through time, offering comfort to the parts of you that needed this, understanding but couldn't access it then. Imagine kneeling beside a particularly tender area of your garden where an old wound has created a small clearing surrounded by protective thorns. You don't try to force the thorns away. Instead, you simply sit with this defended space, offering it the quality of presence it has always longed for. You whisper to this part of yourself, "I see you. I understand why you needed to protect us. You did nothing wrong," as you maintain this loving vigil, something miraculous begins to happen. The thorns don't disappear, but they soften. The protective barrier remains, but it becomes porous, allowing light and nourishment to reach the tender growth beneath. This is how true healing happens, not through force or manipulation, but through the patient alchemy of unconditional love. Your subconscious patterns are not obstacles to overcome, but sacred teachers to honor. Each defensive mechanism contains within it the blueprint for its own transformation. The part of you that learned to hide your emotions is the same part that can teach you about emotional safety. The part that learned to people please is the same part that deeply understands the value of harmony and connection. The key is learning to work with these patterns rather than against them. When you fight your own psychology, you create internal conflict that fragments your energy and scatters your manifesting power. When you approach your patterns with curiosity and compassion, you create the coherent emotional field that allows quantum manifestation to unfold naturally. Feel your body releasing deeper into this space of acceptance. Your jaw unclenches, your shoulders drop, your belly softens. This is your nervous system recognizing safety, not the false safety of control, but the true safety of being witnessed and held exactly as you are. In this state of relaxed awareness, new possibilities begin to emerge like morning flowers opening to the sun. You don't need to force these new possibilities into existence. You simply need to create the optimal conditions for their natural unfolding. Like a skilled gardener, you prepare the soil of your consciousness through practices that regulate your nervous system and align your emotional field with your deepest desires. The quantum field responds not to your thoughts but to your emotional state. When your subconscious garden is tended with love and patience, when your nervous system feels safe and regulated, you become a magnet for experiences that match this internal coherence. Your reality begins to reflect the harmony you've cultivated. In your inner landscape, this is the secret that most manifestation teachings miss. True change happens not through willpower or positive thinking, but through the gentle, consistent practice of loving yourself back to wholeness. Your subconscious garden doesn't need to be perfect to produce beautiful flowers. It needs to be tended with the same patient devotion that any gardener offers to their beloved plants. As your breath continues to deepen and slow, imagine placing your hands on the earth of your inner garden. Feel the warmth of your palms transferring love directly into the soil of your subconscious. This is where your deepest healing happens, not in the dramatic moments of breakthrough, but in the quiet, consistent moments of choosing love over fear, presence over distraction, curiosity over judgment. Your subconscious garden is not separate from the vast quantum field of possibility that surrounds you. It is a unique expression of that field, a personal portal through which infinite potential flows into form. As you learn to tend this inner landscape with wisdom and compassion, you discover that you are not just the gardener, you are the garden itself, forever growing, forever blooming, forever becoming more than you ever imagined possible. What seeds of possibility are ready to sprout in the fertile darkness of your loving attention. Breathe deeply now, and feel your body soften into this moment. Notice how your chest rises and falls without your conscious direction, how your heart beats its steady arch. IDM without your permission. This is the first lesson in the art of letting go. Your body already knows how to surrender to the natural flow of life. Tonight, we explore perhaps the most delicate dance in all of quantum manifestation, the space between holding and releasing, between intention and surrender, between the grip of wanting and the open palm of receiving. It's here, in this tender balance, that most manifestations either take flight or fall back to earth. Imagine, if you will, a mother bird watching her young approach the edge of the nest. Every instinct in her being wants to pull them back to safety, to keep them close where she can protect them. Yet she knows that her greatest act of love is to let them leap into the unknown sky. Her heart holds both the fierce intention for their success and the trembling trust that they will find their wings. This is your relationship with your deepest desires. You birth them in the nest of your imagination, nurture them with your attention, feed them with your energy. But there comes a moment when you must step back from the edge of wanting and allow them to fly into the quantum field of possibility. The human nervous system, in its ancient wisdom, was designed to keep you safe. It scans constantly for threats, builds walls around the familiar, creates elaborate defense systems against the unknown. When you hold a desire too tightly, your nervous system interprets this as a signal that survival is at stake. It mobilizes every resource to control the outcome, to ensure nothing goes wrong. But quantum manifestation operates on a different frequency altogether. It flows like water, finding its way around obstacles, seeping into spaces that rigid control cannot reach. The tighter you grasp, the more likely your manifestation is to slip through your fingers like sand. Feel this tension in your own body, right now. Think of something you want, deeply perhaps, a relationship, a career shift, a healing, a dream that has lived in your heart for years. Notice how your body responds to this desire. Does your chest tighten? Do your shoulders rise? Does your breathing become shallow? This is your nervous system's attempt to control the uncontrollable. It's not wrong, it's trying to protect you from the vulnerability of hope, from the tender exposure of wanting something beyond your immediate reach. But in its protection, it creates the very resistance that blocks the quantum flow you're seeking. To enter true quantum letting go is not about becoming passive or giving up on your dreams. It's about finding that sweet spot where your intention remains crystal clear while your attachment to specific outcomes becomes fluid. It's learning to plant seeds with focused attention, then stepping back to let the mysterious processes of growth unfold. Consider how a skilled archer draws back the bow. She focuses intently on the target, aligns her body and breath, builds tension in the string. But at the moment of release, she must let go completely. She cannot guide the arrow's flight once it leaves her fingers. Her power lies not in controlling the journey, but in the clarity of her aim and the completeness of her surrender. Your desires are like that arrow. They carry within them the energy of your intention, the trajectory of your vision, the momentum of your belief. But once you release them into the quantum field, they must find their own way to the target. Your job is not to manage their flight path, but to trust the intelligence that guides all things toward their natural fulfillment. This is where most of us stumble. We shoot the arrow, then immediately start chasing after it, trying to nudge it back on course, second-guessing our aim, anxiously checking its progress. We forget that the quantum field is not empty space, but a living intelligence that responds to our deepest intentions with a precision that surpasses our conscious understanding. The art of quantum letting go asks you to become comfortable with the mystery. It invites you to develop a relationship with uncertainty that feels more like anticipation than anxiety. When you can hold your desires with open hands, present enough to feel their importance, detached enough to allow their natural unfoldment to create the optimal conditions for quantum events to occur. Your nervous system learns to let go through repeated experiences of safety in surrender. Each time you plant a seed of intention and allow it to grow without constant interference, you teach your body that letting go is not about losing control, but about aligning with a deeper intelligence. Think of how you fall asleep each night. You cannot force sleep to come, yet you trust that it will. You create the conditions: darkness, quiet, comfort, then you surrender to the process. You let go of the day's concerns, release your hold on consciousness, and allow sleep to carry you into dreams. This is quantum letting go in its purest form. The same trust that allows you to fall asleep can be applied to your manifestations. You create the conditions through clear intention, aligned feeling, and focused attention. Then you release your grip on the how and when, trusting that the quantum field will orchestrate the perfect timing and circumstances for your desires to manifest. Notice how this feels different from resignation or giving up. There's an aliveness in surrender, a vibrant expectancy that comes from knowing you've planted good seeds in fertile soil. You're not abandoning your dreams. You're giving them the space they need to grow beyond the limitations of your current understanding. As you practice this art of quantum letting go, you may notice your nervous system's resistance. Old patterns of control may surface, voices that insist you need to do more, try harder, push further. Welcome these voices with compassion. They're trying to keep you safe in the only way they know how. Breathe gently with these protective parts of yourself. Acknowledge their concern while gradually teaching them a new way of being safe in the world, not through control, but through trust. Not through forcing, but through flow. Not through gripping, but through allowing. The quantum field responds to this quality of surrendered intention like a tuning fork responds to its perfect pitch. When you can hold your desires with both clarity and openness, you create a resonance that draws your manifestations toward you with surprising ease. Let yourself feel this possibility now. Imagine holding one of your deepest desires like a bird. In your cupped hands, feel its life, its energy, its potential. Now slowly open your hands, not to release it into emptiness, but to give it the freedom to fly in the infinite sky of possibility. Your desire doesn't disappear when you let go, it transforms. It becomes lighter, more fluid, more capable of navigating the quantum currents that carry all things toward their perfect fulfillment. In letting go, you don't lose your power to manifest. You discover a power far greater than control, the power of alignment with the intelligent flow of existence itself. Rest here in this understanding. Feel how your body responds to the idea of trusting the process, of allowing your desires to find their own perfect pathway to manifestation. There's no need to figure out how to let go, simply notice that in this moment, you already are. What would it feel like to live from this place of surrendered intention, where your dreams fly free in the quantum field while your heart remains peacefully open to receive them however they choose to return? Let your body settle now, feeling the gentle weight of rest calling you home. Tonight, we explore the most tender mystery of existence, how the story you tell yourself about who you are becomes the reality you wake up to each morning. Like a river carving its path through stone, your identity flows through the quantum field, creating the landscape of your lived experience with each unconscious choice. Every dawn brings with it a moment of pure possibility. In those first few seconds of awakening, before the familiar patterns of thought reassemble themselves, you exist in what we might call quantum superpositional, possible versions of yourself existing simultaneously, waiting for the collapse of choice that will determine which one you become today. But here's what most never realize. This choice happens not through conscious decision, but through the quiet assumption of identity that lives in your bones. The quantum field, responsive and ever-present, reads not your desires, but your deepest beliefs about who you are. It mirrors back to you not what you want, but who you unconsciously agree to be. Feel your breath deepening now. Notice how even in this simple act you are choosing. Are you the person who breathes shallowly, holding tension in your chest, or the one who allows breath to flow like gentle waves? This choice, seemingly small, ripples through the quantum mirror of reality, creating experiences that confirm whichever version of yourself you've unconsciously selected. These identity loops run deeper than the stories your conscious mind tells. They live in the cellular memory of your nervous system, in the way your shoulders naturally position themselves, in the rhythm of your heartbeat when you encounter certain situations. Your body has been practicing being you for so long that it maintains these patterns even when your conscious mind yearns for change. Consider how you move through your days. Do you walk with the posture of someone who expects to be welcomed, or someone who prepares for rejection? Do you speak with the voice of someone whose thoughts matter, or someone who must carefully measure their words? These subtle choices, made thousands of times each day, create quantum events that shape the reality. Reflecting back to you, your subconscious mind has been loyally maintaining these identity patterns, believing them to be essential for your survival. If you learned early that being small kept you safe, your nervous system will continue to collapse quantum possibilities into experiences that confirm your smallness. If you discovered that being perfect earned love, your awareness will automatically filter reality to present situations that demand perfection. This is not your fault. This is not weakness. This is the exquisite intelligence of a system that learned to navigate a world through the lens of a child's understanding. Your identity loops were once your greatest protection, creative solutions to complex emotional mathematics that helped you survive in environments that may not have been safe for your full expression. But now, in this quiet moment, you can begin to recognize these patterns not as prison walls, but as gentle habits that can be lovingly updated. The quantum field doesn't judge which version of yourself you choose. It simply responds with unwavering fidelity to whatever identity you consistently embody. The mirror of reality is always accurate, always present, always reflecting back the energetic signature of your deepest self-concept. When you notice patterns repeating in your life, the same conflicts, the same limitations, the same feelings of being stuck, you're witnessing the quantum mirror showing you which identity loop is currently active. This recognition is not meant to create judgment, but to spark curiosity. What would it feel like to identify with your future self instead of your historical self? What if you could become quantum entangled with the version of yourself that already exists in the field of possibility, the one who moves through life with ease, who speaks with confidence, who receives love without question? Your future self is not some distant fantasy. In the quantum realm, all moments exist simultaneously. The version of yourself who has already transcended current limitations, who has already learned to embody the qualities you long for, exists now in the field of potential. You can begin to align with this future identity not through force or effort, but through the gentle practice of assumption. Feel into this possibility now. What does your future self's breath feel like? How does their body hold itself? What quality of presence do they bring to simple moments like this one? As you allow yourself to imagine these qualities, you're not creating something new. You're remembering something that already exists in the quantum field of your potential. The beautiful truth is that identity is far more fluid than you've been taught to believe. Just as water can exist as ice, liquid, or vapor while remaining fundamentally the same substance, your consciousness can embody different identities while remaining fundamentally yourself. The quantum shift happens not through becoming someone else, but through remembering other aspects of who you already are. Your nervous system begins to relax as it recognizes this truth. The pressure to change, to fix, to improve dissolves when you realize that you're not trying to become someone new. You're simply allowing a different facet of your infinite nature to emerge. This is the gentleness of true transformation, not the violence of forcing change, but the ease of allowing natural evolution. The quantum mirror responds immediately to shifts in identity. As you begin to embody even small aspects of your future self, the way they breathe, the way they hold their shoulders, the way they meet their own gaze in the mirror, reality begins to shift to match this new energetic signature. The universe starts to present opportunities, people, and experiences that confirm this emerging identity. This is not manifestation through wanting, this is manifestation through being. The quantum field reads your energetic state, not your mental desires. When you consistently embody the identity of someone who is supported, the universe provides support. When you naturally express the identity of someone who is creative, creative opportunities emerge. When you rest in the identity of someone who is loved, love finds its way to you. Your dreams tonight will carry this knowing deeper into your cellular memory. As you sleep, your subconscious mind will begin to update the identity loops that no longer serve your highest expression. Neural pathways will gently rewire themselves, creating new defaults that align with your emerging self-concept. The old patterns may still arise. This is natural, expected, even helpful. Each time you notice yourself slipping into a familiar identity loop, you're given another opportunity to consciously choose which version of yourself to embody. The quantum field waits patiently for your choice, ready to mirror back whatever identity you consistently inhabit. This is the profound responsibility and beautiful freedom of conscious existence. You are always choosing who to be, and reality is always responding to that choice. The quantum mirror reflects not your past but your present moment assumption of identity. In each breath, in each heartbeat, in each gentle recognition of your own worth, you are actively creating the reality that will greet you tomorrow. Rest now in the spaciousness of this knowing. Feel the quantum field around you, responsive and welcoming, ready to support whichever version of yourself you choose to embody. Notice how your body naturally knows how to hold the identity of someone who is safe, loved, and free to express their authentic nature. As you sink deeper into sleep, let yourself become quantum entangled with your highest potential. Feel the gentle pull of your future self, not as someone distant, but as someone intimately connected to this moment, this breath, this choice to rest in your own inherent worth. The mirror of reality is always showing you the truth of your current identity. As you change your relationship to yourself, as you learn to hold your own being with greater tenderness and respect, the reflection must shift to match. This is not hope, this is quantum law. What if the very act of falling asleep is a daily practice of identity, dissolution, and renewal? What if each night offers you the opportunity to release the patterns that no longer serve and wake tomorrow slightly more aligned with who you truly are? Imagine your nervous system as a vast network of rivers flowing beneath the surface of your consciousness. These rivers carry messages, not just the obvious ones about hunger or temperature, but the subtle frequencies of possibility, the whispered invitations from potential futures, the gentle nudges from a universe that wants to conspire in your favor. But tonight, as you settle into stillness, we're going to explore why these rivers sometimes become turbulent, creating static that makes it impossible to hear the quantum field calling your name. Your nervous system is ancient wisdom wrapped in modern biology. It has been faithfully serving your survival for millions of years, learning to read danger in a sideways glance, threat in a change of tone, uncertainty in the space between heartbeats. This beautiful, complex guardian has kept your ancestors alive through ice ages and predators, through scarcity and storm. It deserves your gratitude, not your frustration. But here's what your nervous system couldn't have predicted: that in this modern world, you would need to receive signals not just from your immediate environment, but from the quantum field itself. It couldn't have known that your well-being would depend not just on avoiding tigers, but on being receptive to the subtle frequencies of manifestation, the gentle quantum events that want to unfold in your life. When your nervous system is dysregulated in the ancient patterns of fight, flight, or freeze, it creates what we might call quantum static. Picture an old radio struggling to find a clear station. The music is there, the signal is broadcasting, but all you hear is interference. Your desires are trying to reach you through the quantum field, but your nervous system is so busy scanning for threats that it can't receive the transmission. This isn't your fault. Your nervous system learned these patterns for good reason. Every time you were hurt and couldn't escape, every time you felt unsafe and had to endure, every time you needed help and none came, your nervous system took notes. It learned that the world could be unpredictable, that safety was rare, that you needed to stay vigilant to survive. But in its dedication to keeping you safe, your nervous system began to interpret even beautiful possibilities as potential threats. A new opportunity. What if it doesn't work out? A chance at love. What if they leave? A moment of abundance. What if it doesn't last? Your guardian became so skilled at protection that it began protecting you from the very experiences your soul was calling toward. This is where quantum coherence becomes not just a scientific concept, but a pathway to healing. When your nervous system is regulated, when it feels genuinely safe in your body, it stops broadcasting emergency frequencies. The static clears, and suddenly you can hear the quantum field whispering your name. There's a part of your nervous system called the vagus nerve, a wandering pathway that connects your brain to your heart, your gut, your entire being. Think of it as the conductor of your inner orchestra. When this conductor is calm and present, every instrument in your body plays in harmony. Your heart finds its natural rhythm. Your breathing deepens. Your mind quiets its anxious chatter. This is the state of nervous system regulation, not the absence of feeling, but the presence of safety. In this state, your body remembers something profound, that you are held by forces larger than your individual will. That the universe is not a hostile place you must defend against, but a quantum field of possibility waiting to collaborate with your deepest intentions. When your nervous system feels safe, something remarkable happens to you. Relationship with manifestation. You stop grasping for outcomes like a drowning person reaching for shore. Instead, you become like a skilled sailor who knows how to read the wind, how to adjust the sails, how to move with the currents rather than against them. This is quantum receptivity, the state where your nervous system is clear enough to receive the subtle signals of alignment, the gentle nudges toward inspired action, the synchronicities that feel like breadcrumbs leading you home. In this state, quantum events don't feel like miracles, they feel like the natural unfolding of a universe that has been waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear its guidance. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools for nervous system regulation. Each slow, deep breath sends a message to your ancient guardian. We are safe, we can rest, we can receive. As you breathe now, imagine each exhale releasing the static of old survival patterns. Each inhale drawing in the clear frequency of quantum possibility. Notice how your body begins to soften when it feels permission to be safe. Your shoulders drop away from your ears. Your jaw unclenches. Your belly relaxes. This isn't just physical comfort. This is your nervous system creating the optimal conditions for quantum coherence. In this state of regulation, you begin to notice things you missed when you were caught in survival mode. The way sunlight feels different when you're not rushing. The way conversations unfold more smoothly when you're not defending against imagined attacks. The way opportunities seem to appear just when you need them, as if the universe has been waiting for you to become receptive enough to receive them. This is the bridge between quantum possibility and physical manifestation. Not your thoughts alone, not your desires alone, but the state of your nervous system. When your internal environment is regulated, you become a clear channel for the quantum field to work through. You become what we might call a quantum receiver, tuned to the frequency of your highest potential. Think of those moments in your life when everything seemed to flow effortlessly, when the right person called at the right time, when doors opened with surprising ease, when you felt held by an intelligence greater than your own planning. These weren't accidents. These were quantum events unfolding through a nervous system that was, for that moment, clear enough to receive them. Your nervous system doesn't need to be perfect to be receptive. It just needs to remember that it's safe to be open, safe to receive, safe to trust that the universe is more generous than your survival patterns have taught you to believe as you rest here tonight. Let your nervous system remember what it felt like to be truly safe. Not the hypervigilant safety of constant scanning, but the deep safety of being held by life itself. Let this remembering saturate every nerve, every pathway, every ancient river of communication in your body. This is where quantum manifestation transforms from effort to flow. When your nervous system is regulated, you're not trying to force outcomes, you're becoming a clear receiver for the outcomes that want to find you. You're not pushing against the quantum field, you're allowing it to move through you. The quantum field responds to coherence, and coherence begins with a nervous system that feels safe enough to be present. When you're present, you can feel the subtle pull of aligned action. When you're regulated, you can sense the difference between fear-based doing and inspired unfolding. Your desires aren't separate from you, struggling to reach you from some distant quantum realm. They're part of the same field of consciousness that includes your nervous system, your breath, your heartbeat. When your nervous system is clear, the distance between wanting and having collapses into the eternal now of quantum possibility. This is the gift of nervous system regulation, not just feeling better, but becoming receptive to the quantum events that have been waiting for you to become quiet enough to notice them. Not just healing trauma, but clearing the static that has been interfering with your natural birthright of manifestation. As you drift towards sleep, let your nervous system settle into its deepest knowing of safety. Let every breath remind your ancient guardian that it can rest now. Let every heartbeat broadcast the frequency of trust, and let your dreams be filled with the quantum events that are already moving toward you, drawn by the clear signal of a nervous system that has remembered how to receive. The universe has been sending you love letters through the quantum field. Tonight, your nervous system finally has the stillness to read them. There is a place beyond trying, beyond pushing, beyond the exhausting effort of making things happen. It's a state of being where manifestation stops feeling like climbing a mountain and starts feeling like floating downstream on a river that knows exactly where it's going. Tonight, as your body settles into the soft embrace of rest, you remember this place, this quantum flow state where desires fulfill themselves through the gentle choreography of synchronicity and grace. Close your eyes and feel yourself stepping out of the rushing current of everyday consciousness. Here, in this liminal space between waking and sleeping, you can sense the deeper rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of your daily experience. This is the rhythm of the universe itself, patient, purposeful, and infinitely creative. Your breath becomes the bridge between effort and ease, between wanting and having, between the you who strives and the you who simply allows. With each exhale, you release the grip of forcing outcomes. With each inhale, you attune yourself to the natural flow of quantum possibilities that surround you like invisible currents in an infinite ocean. That the quantum flow state isn't something you achieve through willpower or technique. It's something you remember, something you return to, like coming home to a place you've always known but temporarily forgotten. It's the state of consciousness where the boundaries between you and your manifestations begin to dissolve, where the artificial separation between desire and fulfillment reveals itself as an illusion. Feel your body melting deeper into this recognition. Your shoulders drop as you release the burden of having to figure everything out. Your jaw softens as you let go of the need to control every detail. Your heart opens as you remember that the universe is not working against you, it's working as you, through you, in perfect collaboration with your deepest intentions. In this state, manifestation becomes less about attracting what you want and more about recognizing what's already flowing toward you. The quantum field is constantly organizing itself around your dominant emotional frequency, but when you're in a state of forcing and striving, you create resistance that blocks the natural flow of abundance. It's like trying to catch butterflies. By chasing them, the very act of pursuing creates the disturbance that makes them fly away. But when you enter the quantum flow state, you become like a flower that attracts butterflies simply by being itself. Your desires are drawn to you through the magnetic pull of your authentic presence, your peaceful confidence, your trust in the benevolent intelligence that orchestrates all of life's synchronicities. Notice how different this feels from the anxious energy of manifestation as work. There's no calendar to check, no progress to measure, no timeline to worry about. Time itself becomes fluid in this state, bending and stretching to accommodate the perfect unfolding of your intentions. You begin to understand that the universe operates on quantum time, not linear time, where the right moment for your manifestation arrives with the precision of a flower blooming at dawn. Your nervous system recognizes this state as home. The chronic tension of trying to control outcomes melts away, replaced by the deep relaxation that comes from knowing you're held by something infinitely more intelligent than your individual will. Your parasympathetic nervous system activates, flooding your body with the healing chemistry of trust and allowing. This is where the observer effect becomes not a mental concept, but a lived reality. You discover that your peaceful observation of your desires without attachment to how or when they manifest creates the optimal conditions for their natural emergence. Your calm witnessing becomes the quantum catalyst that collapses infinite possibilities into perfect experiences. Feel yourself floating in this space of effortless allowing. Your desires exist here not as distant goals to achieve, but as present moment frequencies to embody. The promotion you long for, the relationship you desire, the creative project that calls to youth, they all exist in this quantum flow as energetic blueprints waiting for the right conditions to materialize. The key to accessing these conditions is learning to distinguish between inspired action and effortful striving. Inspired action feels light, energizing, and naturally timed. It emerges from stillness rather than anxiety, from intuition rather than strategy. When you're in the quantum flow state, you find yourself taking steps that feel playful and curious rather than heavy and forced. You might suddenly feel called to take a different route home, only to encounter exactly the person you needed to meet. You might feel inspired to clean out your closet, creating space for new clothes that appear in your life through unexpected channels. You might find yourself drawn to a particular book or conversation that contains the exact insight you need for your next level of growth. This is how the universe communicates with you when you're in flow through gentle nudges, subtle and the quiet voice of your own intuition. Your logical mind might not understand the connection between these small actions and your larger desires, but your quantum consciousness knows that every inspired movement is part of a larger pattern that's orchestrating your manifestations behind the scenes. Breathe deeper into this knowing. Your body relaxes even further as you realize that you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. You don't need to understand the entire plan to trust the process. The quantum flow state is characterized by this beautiful paradox. The more you surrender the need to know how, the more clearly you can sense what's next in this state. Manifestation becomes less about getting what you want and more about becoming who you're meant to be. Each desire that flows into your life brings with it opportunities for growth, healing, and expanded consciousness. You begin to understand that your manifestations are not separate from your evolution. They are the perfect vehicles for your soul's journey toward greater wholeness and authenticity. The quantum field doesn't just respond to your requests, responds to your readiness. When you're in the quantum flow state, you naturally align with the version of yourself who is ready to receive your desires. Old patterns of unworthiness, fear, or limitation dissolve in the gentle current of your allowing, replaced by the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you belong to a universe that wants you to thrive. Your breath carries you deeper into this current of trust. Each exhalation releases another layer of resistance, another subtle belief that you have to earn your good fortune. Each inhalation fills you with the recognition that abundance is your natural state, that joy is your birthright, that love is the fabric from which all manifestations are woven. Feel the boundaries of your individual self becoming more porous, more permeable. You're not losing yourself in this expansion. You're remembering your true nature as both the drop and the ocean, both the dreamer and the dream. Your personal desires harmonize with the greater flow of life, creating a symphony of manifestation that serves not just your individual growth but the evolution of consciousness itself. This is the secret that traditional manifestation teachings often miss. True quantum flow happens when your desires align with the universe's desire for greater beauty, love, and creative expression. When you're in this state, you're not just manifesting for yourself, you're manifesting as life itself, expressing its infinite creativity through the unique lens of your individual consciousness. The synchronicities that arise in this state feel less like coincidences and more like love letters from the universe. Each meaningful connection, each perfectly timed opportunity, each moment of grace becomes evidence of the intelligent benevolence that orchestrates all things. You begin to live in a state of constant appreciation for the artistry of existence, the way life weaves together seemingly separate events into a tapestry of meaning and magic. As your body prepares for sleep, you carry this recognition with you into the realm of dreams. Even in rest, you remain connected to the quantum flow, allowing your subconscious mind to continue the gentle work of aligning your inner landscape with your heart's deepest desires. Your dreams become another channel for manifestation, a playground, where your consciousness can explore possibilities without the limitations of physical reality. In the morning, you may wake with new insights, creative solutions, or simply a deeper sense of trust in the process that's always unfolding on your behalf. What would it feel like to live each day as if the universe were conspiring to fulfill your deepest joy? As the gentle darkness wraps around you like a soft blanket, we arrive at the threshold where learning transforms into living, where understanding becomes embodiment. Take a slow, deep breath and feel how different this moment is from when we first began this journey together. Something has shifted in the quiet chambers of your awareness, hasn't it? You have traveled through the landscapes of quantum simplicity, witnessed the dance between observer and observed, felt the frequency of your heart's deepest knowing. You have tended the garden of your subconscious, learned the art of letting go, and discovered the mirrors that reflect your identity back to you. Now comes the most beautiful part of all the integration. Integration is not about adding quantum manifestation to your life like another item on a to-do list. It's about recognizing that you have always been a quantum being, moving through a quantum reality, breathing quantum breath, thinking quantum thoughts. The journey you've taken has simply been a remembering, a gentle awakening to what was always true. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been living in a house for years, using only the front rooms, unaware that behind a seemingly solid wall lies a magnificent library filled with ancient wisdom and infinite possibilities. The discovery doesn't change. The house it reveals what was always there, waiting patiently for you to find the hidden door. Your quantum nature is that library. These principles we've explored together are not foreign concepts to be learned, but native languages of your soul to be remembered. The observer effect isn't something you do, it's something you are. Quantum entanglement isn't a phenomenon you create. It's the very fabric of your connection to everything that exists. As you move through your days now, you may notice moments when the ordinary world shimmers with quantum possibility. Perhaps you'll catch yourself naturally shifting your attention and watching reality respond. Maybe you'll feel the subtle frequency changes in your heart as your desires align with your being. These aren't special achievements, they're glimpses of your natural state, emerging through the cracks in old patterns. The beauty of integration lies in its ordinariness. You don't need to meditate for hours or visualize complex scenarios. You don't need to speak in quantum terminology or announce your transformation to the world. The most profound integration happens in the quiet moments, in the pause between thoughts, in the space between breaths, in the gentle shift of awareness that occurs when you remember who you really are. Consider how you learned to walk as a child. At first, every step required intense concentration, wobbling, uncertainty, perhaps a few falls. But gradually, walking became so natural that you could traverse the world while thinking about something else entirely. Your body integrated the knowledge so completely that it became unconscious wisdom. This is what happens when quantum principles integrate into your being. The observer effect becomes as natural as breathing. Quantum letting go becomes as effortless as sleep. The frequency of your authentic self becomes the baseline hum of your existence, no longer requiring conscious effort to maintain. But here's where many seekers stumble in their integration journey. They worry about losing the magic, about quantum manifestation becoming mundane through familiarity. They fear that integration means the end of wonder, the domestication of mystery. This fear itself reveals a beautiful misunderstanding. True integration doesn't diminish the magic, it reveals that magic is your natural state. It doesn't make quantum manifestation ordinary, it shows you that the ordinary world is quantum through and through. Every breath you take collapses waves of possibility into the reality of oxygen in your lungs. Every heartbeat is a quantum event. Every thought a frequency broadcast into the field of infinite potential. The simplicity you've returned to is not the innocent simplicity of the child who hasn't yet learned complexity. It's the profound simplicity of the elder who has moved through all complexity and discovered that truth was always simple. You carry within you now both the wonder of the child and the wisdom of the sage. Living as a quantum being means recognizing that your morning coffee is brewed with quantum water, that your conversations create quantum entanglement with other souls, that your dreams at night are quantum journeys through parallel possibilities. It means understanding that every choice you make is a quantum shift, every breath a reality shift, every moment of awareness a quantum event. This recognition doesn't make you special, it makes you wonderfully, beautifully ordinary. You join the ranks of every flower that blooms, every bird that flies, every star that shines, all of them quantum beings expressing their nature without effort or self-consciousness. As you integrate these understandings, you may find that your relationship with time changes. Linear time, the ticking clock, the urgent schedule, the frantic pace begins to feel like one way of experiencing duration among many. You discover quantum time, where synchronicities cluster, where the perfect moment arrives exactly when needed, where your internal rhythm begins to align with the deeper pulses of existence. Your nervous system, too, undergoes a beautiful transformation. The constant vigilance for threats softens into a natural alertness that trusts the flow of life. The need to control outcomes relaxes into a confident participation in the unfolding. You become both more grounded and more fluid, more present, and more open to possibility. The integration process is unique for each person, unfolding at its own perfect pace. Some discover dramatic shifts in their external circumstances. Others notice subtle changes in their internal landscape. Many find that the biggest transformation is a deep sense of coming home to themselves, of finally living in alignment with their truest nature. Remember, you are not trying to become someone new. You are allowing someone authentic to emerge from beneath the layers of conditioning and forgetting. You are not acquiring quantum powers. You are uncovering the quantum nature that has always been your birthright. As you continue this integration, be gentle with yourself. There will be moments when you forget, when you slip back into old patterns of thinking and being. These are not failures, they are simply opportunities to remember again, to choose again, to align again with your quantum nature. The path of integration is not a straight line, but a spiral, returning you again and again to the same truths at deeper levels of understanding. Each return is not repetition, but recognition, each remembering more embodied than the last dot tonight. As you prepare to rest, feel into the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are already whole, already quantum, already exactly where you need to be. The journey doesn't end with integration, it begins anew. With each breath, each heartbeat, each moment of conscious awareness, you are no longer seeking to become a quantum being. You are learning to live as one. The difference is everything. And the difference is nothing at all. Rest now in this understanding. Let your body and mind integrate what your soul has always known. Tomorrow will bring new opportunities to express your quantum nature, to observe reality into existence, to dance with the field of infinite possibility. You are home. You have always been home. And now you know it with a clarity that nothing can shake.